Hello, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode. Oh my gosh, the audio in here sucks. It's so echoey. Oh dear God. I have to say, I am so mad at how The Lord of the Rings ended. I never watched The Lord of the Rings before. I was totally oblivious. And then my dad and my cousins were like, oh my gosh, you're a disappointment. You gotta watch Lord of the Rings. So we did. And I am mad about the ending. Like, everything else was perfect, but I'm just so ugh. So, today we're gonna heal my trauma by writing fanfiction. Dear God. Oh. Okay, so before we start writing sentences and stuff like that, I believe we need a plan. Just like how Gandalf had a plan to send 2 little hobbits into Mordor. I totally mispronounced that. Mordor? I think it's Mordor. Our plan. Okay, so since I am a human and I'm limited on my time, I'm only gonna be writing 2 chapters of this, okay? Who knows, it might continue. For this video, the first 2 chapters. So, for the first part, of course, the part where we have no advice from anyone or anything, I'd say should be chapter 1. Now, I hope you can see that. So I feel like, since I do not have a writing style at all, and since I'm bad with dialogue, the first step shall be reading. Oh my gosh, my spelling is so terrible. So the first step should be reading The Hobbit. So then we can get a vibe of the writing style for this world. Number 2, think of the plot and characters. We gotta have the plot and characters to make stuff. And then number 3, I'd say we should write the dang thing. I'll think about more cheeses, but first, let's read The Hobbit. Okay, so we read The Hobbit. Now, well, at least some of the chapters. Let's not get hasty here. So, now, let's think about the characters. I'm thinking of keeping pretty much all of the characters from Lord of the Rings the same. I don't want to make a whole host of new characters and stuff like that. That's just not something I want to do. However, I do want to add one more character. And I made this character it wasn't a little while ago. It was when I watched the first Lord of the Rings movie. I was inspired. That was a week ago, not a long time ago. She lives in the wilderness, and because she lives in the wilderness, one of her main flaws is she's extremely antisocial and she does not know how to socialize, just like me. Also because since she lives in the wilderness and just goes around everywhere, she has 2 weapons that she uses. And she's also an excellent hunter. She uses a spear and a bow and arrow. And with the spear, instead of it being one of those boring spears, which is just a stick with some metal on top, I'm thinking of making it a stick with the metal on top and a metal on bottom. And then maybe it could separate and it turns into mini spears. And maybe those mini spears have metal on top and metal on the bottom. Shocker, I know. I need to stop my spiel because you guys are probably bored out of your mind and I need a better audience retention span. Hi people! I hope you like this view. I will say a little bit beforehand, I was mad at the ending of Lord of the Rings, so I already kind of wrote a little bit, but it's more just like, this is kind of like some foreshadowing and world building. Reading it now, it sounds so stupid. The ring was destroyed. Oh dear God. Seeping through the lava, simmering into the dark. I'm gonna get rid of the word redness. Everyone lived happy life Everybody lived happily after that, everyone. However, power cannot be created nor destroyed. As you see, I took inspiration from Isaac Newton. Mountains and mountains of decaying orcs, dead elves, and rotted humans alive, building back a once glorious empire. The eye fell, but the king has risen. You see, it's kind of good. As you guys can see, I am still in my 3 a.m. mind. That's gonna be like the prelogue. Yeah, look how professional that looks. Yeah, we're not doing 30 pages. I really hope this is even. Where's the story gonna start off? Who knows? I was thinking about starting it off with The Hobbit. Ooh, I could do one of Sam's kids. Sam is like, I don't know, Sam and his wife, they're dead. And then like one of their kids, they're living in their little hobbit hole. And then someone comes around and they're like, knock, knock, knock. And they're like, who is that? And they're like, no, I want you to go bye-bye. I like being in my hobbit hole. And then they're like, no, come with me on this adventure. And they kidnap the hobbit. I feel like that's how it should go. Or maybe the hobbit could just be kidnapped. Random hobbit name. The name has to contain 2 syllables.
Looking back at it, it should have been Billy-O.
It must end with the letter O. Third, the name must sound like something you'd name a dog. Cheesio. Billy. That's gonna be our hobbit, Billy. So Tolkien, his like way of writing is kind of storyteller-ish. No idea how I'm gonna achieve this, but here we go. A beautiful sun-filled morning. Fields of golden wheat. Is there wheat in the Hobbit thing? Oh no, you're... This thing is sensitive. No, don't say this thing is sensitive. Fields of golden wheat and ready to harvest crops dot the landscape. As the sun glows, it shows upon the hill many, many circular doors opening and closing in the hill. One golden door inched into the hill, shined very fondly as if saying hello. I have no idea what I'm saying, but I'm saying something. You're still... And you could hear a little hum in the distance. A hobbit, mindfully minding his business. His house is made out of luxurious wood. Books laid astrew. One, in fact, was titled How to Tame Your Rebellious Pony. Ironic enough, it was bitten by a rebellious pony. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. As the hobbit gathered up his second breakfast into his little bag, he swinged it over his shoulder and grabbed a walking stick. There he started heading out onto his little picnic in the woods. Should he be half a goat? I don't know, because Billy is like a goat name, so like Billy the Hobbit. Is he an unusual hobbit? Okay, what's the character? Well, he's having second breakfast. Walking through the beautiful landscape, he comes across a beautiful field of wild flowers, daisies, dandelions, roses, lavender, poppies, daffodils, the weed flowers, wild grown weed. What is the thingy-maboob that the hobbit smoked? Pipeweed. As the doors opened and closed throughout the mountains, he couldn't help but think of it as little Swiss cheeses. Each door was a hole. Each door was a life. Each door was that annoying missing piece in Swiss cheese. I like bread. He contentedly ate his breakfast and contentedly packed away his things, for he started to feel spontaneous. a little spontaneity. That's the correct word. So he started to wander. He walked past the flower-filled hill and into the bright forest of shortness. It's the bright forest of shortness, everyone. The bright forest for short people. Undo typing, what? Why is it called like that, you ask? Well, I'm so glad you question it. Because, you see, hobbits are short. Like, they're short. And these trees, these rocks, these roots, these flowers, these plants, they are also short, like the hobbits. Fitting, isn't it, for it to be called the Forest of the Short? This is so dumb. The Forest of the Short people. They're very short indeed. They're like how tall I am. I'm quite short. Perfect-io, perfect. My butt hurts. Anyways, I should probably focus more. The forest slowly shifted with giant trees. It was about noon then, and he started to figure that he should start heading back. Quote, "This is preposterous. I got so lost in this. I'm gonna miss my lunch. And my second lunch. And what about the dessert in between?" Exclamation point cloak. Don't write the word cloak. So let's see. I'm thinking in this part he's gonna be like enchanted or something, and that's gonna be how he gets like kidnapped. Almost enchanting like. He felt like he had to keep on going, for he hated the fact that he did this spontaneous walk. As swiftly as he came, he turned around and started heading back. But he couldn't go back. Then he blacks out. For 2 wooden elves were seeking to acquire a hobbit. I think that's interesting. I think the words acquire is interesting in this sentence. I mean, for 2 wooden elves were seeking to acquire a hobbit. Makes sense, totally. Yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, so that is that for chapter 1. That was a lot, and that was awesome. Woohoo! There we go. Now we need to work on chapter 2, and with chapter 2, I need some advice. Okay, we are back, and we got some news of what to do and what not to do during writing the fan fiction. So don't use a story crutch, like werewolf romances. If the author doesn't know where to go with the story, the reader can tell. Throwing in a trope or gimmick isn't going to save the story. Fanfiction authors will write in an unplanned pregnancy or kidnap. Oh my god, I just did that! Or kidnapping to spice things up. Well, Billy the Hobbit got kidnapped. Whoops. Yeah, and like plan out the ending and stuff like that. Meh. I don't wanna. And then also some, oh no, Pinky, make a semi-balance of a plan. I know it's fun to just start writing with nothing in mind, and sometimes that works. Also, write for yourself and have fun. It doesn't do any good to write if you're not enjoying the process or if it's something you don't want to read. So technically have fun. I think we're having fun. I think we're gonna cause a person some trauma, which is great. That's fun. I didn't make a plan. Turns out you're supposed to make a plan. I didn't do it. I'm gonna have to somehow introduce my OC in here. And also, I want to, bring some people from the Fellowship, Ring of the Fellowship, the Fellowship of the Ring, back. And oh my golly gosh, it's insane. I don't know how I'm gonna do this with woodland elves kidnapping a hobbit. Maybe I should have thought things through a bit. So I am now in the phase of obsession with a fandom where I'm now sad and depressed that it doesn't actually exist. Real life is boring, man. I want to ride horses. I want to stab the dragons, man. So before we go on in, since people are like, you should kind of have a semi-solid plan, I guess we should have a semi-solid plan right now. Also, if I do have 2 little dots of moisture right here, that's because I sneezed. One of the cons with wearing this outfit. Okay, so we now need to talk about the woodland elves. I do not know what woodland elves look like. I know they kidnapped a dwarf. Not a dwarf. A hobbit. I don't know. What are they gonna do with the hobbit? Cooking up? Maybe I should have made an orc. What should we do with this tasty little hobbit? I'd say we should mash him up and put him in some stew. Or make a nice little hobbital sandwich. A hobbit sandwich, you say? That won't be enough for the 2 of us. Shut up, Bob. Yeah, Bob, shut up. We could put some lettuce and some goat liver on him, and then put bread. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Poor Billy. For he had adventured too far, and now he was gonna become a yummy little snack. I am actually quite hungry right now. I shall be getting a snack. However, it won't be a hobbit. It'll be 2 hobbits. What am I doing? This isn't even relevant to the story anymore. From all of this ruckus, both of them did not notice the little hobbit awakening. I am an imbecile, thought the little hobbit. This is why we're not supposed to be spontaneous and adventure-y. We get eaten by orcs. Talking about the forest, it was actually quite dark, Billy noticed, and there was a light fog that started to appear. Okay, so what I'm thinking, Billy, he's getting dragged all over the place, and then like some person shoots an arrow or stabs one of the orcs and stabs the other orc, and they are like, yo dude, and they're like, yo dude, and it's like, yo dudes, and then they're like, adventure, and he's like, adventure. For that, he thought he would never return back to the shower. I mean, he probably does need to take a shower, but I'm talking about the Shire, not shower. Both had eyes sunken into their skulls. They looked like they were rotting. They smelt like mushrooms. So, like I said before, my OC is a great spears woman, and also she does, she has the bow and arrow, she shoots things. The thing is, I think it would be fun if an arrow pierced through one of them and then she just stabs someone with her spear. No, it couldn't, because that, if you're fighting someone, that wouldn't logically make sense. If you're you pew someone and then you run up to the other person and you stabby stab. It would make sense if you go pew, pew, and then they're like, dead, dead, not dead, dead. Who do I care? Let's stop talking about logic. There was no telling of where that arrow came from or who shot it. It just happened. They're all blind, I guess. Billy fell to the floor, but then he quickly decided to make a run for it back towards the Shire. Billy looked back and saw a person almost as tall as the orcs spear the other one in the chest. This is so bad. I was good at kind of describing stuff, but now when it comes to action, I'm like, oh, what is happening? Agony. She looked at him like she was confused. Why is this little person running away from me? Then again, maybe she did spook him with an arrow. Or being tall. You know what? I'm gonna end it over there because I'm clearly not writing well. I kind of introduced my OC as in she killed 2 orcs, which is fun. But yeah, I definitely did experience a few shots of Lord of the Rings doesn't exist in my life and I am in agony. Is it so hard to ask though? All I want to do is like slay dragons, beat up some orcs, heck, maybe like even do like one of the Lord of the Rings wars. Like those look so freaking cool. Are you kidding me? How do you pronounce your name? So comparing both products, I learned that while writing is also about planning and stuff like that, a lot of it does kind of come down to mood, because what I noticed is in chapter 1, I was full-blown energized and I'm like, yeah, Lord of the Rings, and I was so happy with that stuff. But then around chapter 2, I just kind of got sad and I'm like, Lord of the Rings doesn't exist. You know, I also figured out maybe don't take a break in between chapters, or maybe read of what you wrote before, because in the middle of chapter 2 I took a small break and I was like, oh, blah 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 blah, describing how Billy the Hobbit was sad and he's like, how am I gonna get out of this? And then I started describing the orcs because I got a new idea. And gosh darn it, I just want to live in Lord of the Rings. That's all we're getting out of this, folks. Thank you everyone for watching my video, and if you want more videos watched, please click here or here, somewhere over here. Also, I really recommend this video. This is a video where I totally dirtied my trench coat up. I still need to clean it. Whoops-a-daisy. So I really recommend that video, but there's also this video. Yeah. So I really hope you have a beautiful day today. I hope you go outside and try something new and just tackle on that day. And I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.